Hello again, everyone. Witch Doctor here, looking at the end of week market rev, talking about last week's activity over the previous week. You see here, we're looking at basically the currency, the major currencies that we take a look at in respect to the dollar index futures. These are all on a 4-hour chart, and what you're basically looking at is last week versus this past week. You see these dashed lines that open up and tell you last week's, you can see the separation here between 2 weeks of price action here, and last week's activity obviously had a little bit of a downward bias after rallying early in the week, finishing pretty close to lows. This week we tried to take out the previous week's low, rallied one time and then went back and tried to test it, try to break down, but a lot of buyers down here in the dollar index, and essentially pushing the market back up above the previous week's low, and finishing pretty close to the high of the week this week, but did not take out the previous week's high. But you can see here, this is a high and you had a lower high, which is kind of interesting, and we'll take a little bit more in-depth view when we take a look at the longer time frames. But when you correlate that across the board, of course, what we talk about is the dollar index futures in respect with the other markets. Of course, the dollar index went up towards the back end of the week. So we can see here the euro finished on the lows, the pound finished on the lows, and the Australian dollar also finished on the lows of the week. You can see here trying to break out of last week's high, but failed, and then essentially retraced back into last week's trading range. Same thing with the the pound here, trying to push above last week's high and then failed, finishing on the lows. You got the euro here, tried to break out of last week's high, failed, and finished on the lows of the week. On the flip side, though, remember this, the dollar finished strong here, and the euro, pound, and the Australian dollar should be expected to go in the opposite direction, and that's what they did. And the yen, the Swiss franc, and the Canadian dollar expected to go in the same direction, mimicking the dollar index. And you can see that's what they did. The yen here, very nice finish to the week, finishing strong up above 80 even. The Swiss franc here finishing on the highs of the week, trying to push through the highs of the week that were established the first couple of days, but not able to get above the previous week's high here at 96.49. But overall, did have a pretty decent finish to last week. So now the question is whether or not we're going to continue. As you see here, the Canadian dollar able to break above some key resistance in this downtrend line established last week. Tried to push down below the previous week's low, and not able to sustain that move below that level, and then pushed up above here. You can see here creating a little bit of a short covering and finishing pretty nicely on the week. So again, dollar index futures finished pretty strong in the week. Euro, pound, Aussie finished on the lows of the week. Yen, Swissy, Canadian finished on the highs of their week, and that's really what we can expect. Now the question that we can ask ourselves going forward is whether or not the dollar is done going down for now, and whether or not we're going to start to retrace and try to push back towards the highs, up towards that 84 even level. We'll take a little bit more in-depth view of the markets in the members video, but as you can see, it looks like that we may have finished the retracement in the dollar index futures, and if that is the case, then I'd be looking around the board, the Swiss franc and the Canadian, to have completed their retracement. At the same time, the euro, the pound, and the Australian dollar may have completed their retracement. The euro pushing all the way as high as 127.50, and now it's back, trying to charge below the 125 even level. The pound looks like it may start to reach back down to the 152 even level. And of course, the Australian dollar here trying to get back towards parity. The curious thing is whether or not we break down below it. So we'll be watching to see how this dollar can maintain its strength, and it looks like if we can stay above the 81.49 level in the dollar, we should start to work our way back up to 84. So for all of you out there, hope it helps. Good luck in your trading. Stay safe out there. Best regards to all. We'll see you at the next market wrap.